going to show you how we can create a housing joint. Housing joints are used extensively on door linings, which is where the head meets the leg. And it's just really a little channel that we sink into the head of the door lining to allow us to fit the leg of the door lining into the head to give us a decent joint, a nice solid joint. And it's just a recess, just very similar to what we've done previously on some of the jobs, using hammers, chisels and marking out. Quite simple, quite straightforward. It shouldn't take very long, and this instructional video is just there really to give you a bit of an idea of how to go about it. So we have our door lining. This would be our head effectively. So all we're going to do So effectively this would be the head of our door lining, and what we're going to do is create a channel in here to allow us to fit our the leg of our door line. So the first thing we're going to do is to square across our piece of timber. We can then offer up our leg, and which would give us our thickness of our little housing joint that we want to create. And again, squaring from the same side up, thus. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this piece. And what we're going to do is remove that down to around about 10 millimeters. So using a gauge, we can set a gauge up to about 10, 12 millimeters, whatever you actually require. Taking this across from the face, just a couple of little marks down either side. And then using a gauge, just a simple gauge, just like previous training that we've had, put a little gauge line down there. Now if you want to, you could also put perhaps just a pencil line into that, which will allow you to see it perhaps a little bit easier. So all we're going to do is remove this material. So using a handsaw, ideally put it up against a block of wood so we can keep it nice and firm. Using our thumb up against that line, we're going to make sure that we try and just about keep that line. So using our handsaw, once we get this started, keeping it nice and square to the shoulders, and making sure we don't go too deep. That's one cut, and then again we're going to do the second cut. Same thing, using our thumb as a guide. Making sure that we're not going too deep to our line. We want to make sure that we can get down to our gauge line, but not past that. Once we have our saw cut put into our piece of timber, we can then use our chisel, and quite simply using the chisel bevel side up, we can take some material out from this housing, and we can go nearly down to the line, and we can do the same from the other side. And once we've actually taken some of the material out using a bevel, we can take a piece of timber, using our chisel, keeping our fingers from behind we can now push through using our chisel, nice and straight, nice and flat. If we need to, we can just use our chisel just to clean that edge out. So, and the same from the other side. Putting our chisel into our little gauge line that we put in earlier. And again, if we need to, just use the edge of the chisel, clean that out. Now it's simple, straightforward housing joints, for which our other leg will fit into nice and neatly. So, and that's really all we need to do. It's nothing more difficult than that if we need to. A lot of this will be taken up by the architrave, so if we would be covering most of that joint up by the 10mm, the margin that we're going to put around our architrave. So it's a nice, simple, straightforward joint. And again, we can see that we've just come down 10mm.